Hey Gino, what's up, man?
Hey man, what's going on?
Listen, I gotta tell you, I was extremely impressed with your word tracks today in class, and I think you were on point. So I wanted to shoot this quick video for you and your team so they could play this thing back. Okay, we were talking about the top 7 reasons where they might have stall points or objections or like frustration points. Remember that? And
Right.
one of it was during when price comes up.
Okay.
So the scenario that we came up with today is when your salesperson comes back from doing a demo drive, they seat the prospect down, and they're going to go try to gain the commitment, and there's a pushback. So I'm going to role play. You're on camera, looking into the lens, and I'm over here. But what I want to do is this. Let's just pretend that, we just came off the test drive. I'm the customer. You're the salesperson. Let's go live now.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Obviously, you've had some questions or concerns, but it's not the car, is it?
No, not at all. It's not the car.
Oh, let me ask you this question, Sean. If there was one thing standing in the way of you buying and driving this vehicle home today, what would that one thing be?
The price. Stop. Okay, that's what I want to do. So let's just go through this again. I want them to hear this a couple different times. So we just came back from the desk. What's the first thing you're going to say when you sit down? Let's go from that place.
Okay. Obviously, I'd like to go over your sales price with you, with that being this here. Here's what was offered for your trade. Obviously, here's 20 to 30% down, and here's your monthly installments on a month-to-month basis. If you don't have any objections or reasons for not moving forward, Sean, I need your signature right here, and I'll get your car cleaned up.
Oh, wait a minute.
But it's not the car, is it?
Well, actually, it's not the car. I love the car, but it's that price. Okay, stop again. What I want to do is, this is good. I want your salespeople, when they're watching this, they understand what is the first thing that they do when they walk into the dealership after the demo drive. So let's talk this through. What do they do when they come through?
What I'd like to have them do is obviously take a tour of the dealership.
Okay, so they just do you introduce them to service and everything?
Well, I'd like them to introduce them to a service advisor, let them know that we are a full-service dealership. We do a whole lot more than just sell automobiles here. Obviously, they need to know that in addition to a great deal, they're going to get great service after the sale. So let's just start setting things up. Put them in front of a service advisor, show them where the parts department is, show them where the service department is, show them where our lounge is at, and that, we're an accommodating dealership, even the children. We've got a playroom here. And then as we begin to sit down, I want them to recap the deal and then sit down with the customer and find out.
So right there. So what I got out of it, as soon as they come in from the test drive, they're going to do a dealership tour, so to speak.
Why not?
Okay, I agree with you. That's strong.
Not?
So they're going to do a dealership tour, absolutely hitting the service department as well. They're going to do a whole, from the customer waiting area. And during this time, the salesperson should be going through all the value benefits of the dealership, not just the car, but the dealership itself.
That's right. We're selling it all.
Now, once you sit the prospect down, how do you have them first engage? What is the word track?
More importantly, I would like to see that after driving the car, is this still a vehicle you would consider liking well enough to own? Do you like it well enough to own it? That's the number one most important thing.
So that's the first question is, after test driving, is this vehicle the one that they like enough to own?
Yes.
And if they say yes, then what?
Then obviously it's safe to assume that the only thing that's standing in the way are the numbers, and I'd like to put a proposal in front of you.
Repeat that statement again.
Obviously the only thing that's standing in the way are the numbers, and I'd like to put a proposal in front of you.
Okay, no problem. I'm interested.
There we go.
And then how do you present the numbers?
And then after that, if they feel good about it, first of all, I would get confirmation that I have a vehicle that they like well enough to own. And if the only thing that's standing in the way are the numbers, I would try to get a signed off commitment to buy and drive a vehicle home today if figures are agreeable. Is it a make or break on whether or not I'll write the deal? Of course not. But at least we know where we stand, not only as a salesperson, but as a managerial staff when they approach the desk.
Okay, so let's use the exact word track that we started to drill today. So I'm sitting down. We went through the service walk. We went through the dealership tour. We went through the benefits of the overall value package. We did all that stuff. You asked me the question after I test drove it, is this the right vehicle for me, enough to own? I said, absolutely. You tell me that you want to present me with a proposal. Give me the exact word track for how you present the proposal.
Obviously, here's the list price or the market value of the vehicle. Here's the current market value on the vehicle that you're trading in. For preferred rates and terms with 20 to 30% down, this represents your down payment, and this represents your monthly installment on a short-term note. If you don't have any questions or reasons for not moving forward, I'd like to get your signature on those figures, and I'll get your car cleaned up.
Oh, well, wait a minute. That's a little high for me.
But it's not the car, is it?
No, it's not the car. Stop. Explain why you're asking that question.
Well, the reason behind why, I mean, the essence of closing anyone on anything is you want to begin to systematically begin to remove some of the things that are in front of us. And the number one thing we want to remove is obviously there's not an objection in regards to the car. You don't want to negotiate a deal for an hour to an hour and a half to come to the tail end to find out, well, I just don't like the color. So to grab hold and take control of the conversation, what I'd like to do is remove the car from the objection altogether, which only leaves the figures after that.
So let's go through it from after you presented me the numbers, and I just go in and say, whoa, that price is too high.
It's not the car, is it?
Okay, so listen to that, folks. It's not the car, is it? One more time, he's affirming that it's not the vehicle. I'm like, no, I love the car.
Right. Well, if there was one thing standing in the way of you buying it and driving it home today, what would that one thing be?
Okay, repeat that one more time and explain why you use those words.
I basically what I would like to do is isolate my objection. Now, obviously, I've moved the car out of the contingency of that, so now all I'm left with are the numbers themselves. So then I asked the question, if there was one thing standing in the way of you buying it and driving it home today, what would that one thing be? Let me ask you this question. In all the years you've been in the business, has it ever only been one thing?
No.
It's always something else, isn't it? So why would we get frustrated by getting caught up into something else coming up? And that's a very, very frustrating point of view for a car salesman, especially if you're new.
Right.
And being a salesman myself, I always want to think about things from the perspective of the guys that I'm training. And I want to help them overcome those things, especially if they're early. And that's why we do that. We remove the car from the objection, and then we isolate it to one thing. If there was one thing standing in the way,
Let's jump into that. Let's jump in. So, like, ask me that word track, like you just said, and then I'm going to use my one thing, and then see how you handle it.
Okay, let me ask you this, Sean. It's not the car, is it?
No, it's not the car.
If there was one thing standing in the way of you buying it and driving it home today, what would that one thing be?
Man, the price of the car is just too expensive for me.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No, just the price of that vehicle.
Okay, so if I can get this issue with the price resolved, you'll feel more comfortable moving forward.
Oh, absolutely. If you could get this price issue resolved, I would definitely want to buy that vehicle.
Okay, share with me what you were thinking.
Okay, stop. Let's back that up because that's perfect. Let's break each step down to the why.
And you notice we removed that what if from the car game. You always speak about eliminating things that they done 20 years ago. We got away from the what if.
What if, would you, could you type stuff.
Well, because it's triggering your customers' defense responses. They're going to put guards up.
Yes.
They're going to put their fists up when they start hearing things that they've heard for years or from somewhere else. So what I've tried to do in teaching my staff is we eliminate that here.
So let's pick it up again when you go through the word track. Let's go through.
You ready? Where you want me to pick it up at?
Just from when you go into close and you're like, what's the one thing?
If there was one thing standing in the way of you buying it and driving it home right now, what would that one thing be?
Man, the price.
Is there anything else?
So stop right there. So after you're hearing the price, you're asking if there's anything else because you're still trying to isolate.
You better believe it.
Okay, good. So tell them why that's so important because it's easier to handle one punch coming at you instead of having a whole gang of punches from all different directions.
You know, I as I was listening to you earlier, one of the things that you had mentioned about these guys is being able to, the strength comes from being prepared. And that preparedness comes from the rehearsal aspect of it all. Well, it's hard for a guy to rehearse and maintain 13 or 14 different word paths, especially if you've only been like, you're still an infant in the game.
Yes.
Now, obviously, after you've grown and you're a huge dog, then there's a lot of more things you can eat. But for right now, I try to simplify that process of what they're being fed. So what I'm saying is this, is there anything else? That enables that salesperson to deal with one objection or 35 objections.
Right.
Is there anything else?
No, there's nothing else, just the price. Let's jump in.
Well, why don't you go ahead and add something else? Is there anything else?
Actually, yes. You know what? My trade is a little bit...
Okay, so there was something else. I'm glad I asked, Sean. So other than the price and your trade-in, is there anything else?
No, definitely not. That's it, the price and the trade.
Okay, well, cool. So
Stop. So wait a minute. That's really good. What I just heard from you is that sometimes people are only giving the surface responses or surface objections unless a trained professional can extract what those other things are.
You better believe it.
Okay, no, but this is real what we're talking about right now.
You
This is
better
deep.
believe
A
it.
lot of people don't really understand what you're talking about.
Well, man, it's about the service we deliver.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't think it's all about backing up a person down and backing them into a corner and beating them into submission, like you said your daughter does with jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I think what this is this. It's positioning ourselves, and if you truly in your heart have servicing the customer in the forefront of your mind, you're not backing anybody down. You're not creating a pressure situation. You're just asking them, is there anything else?
I love it. Let's go through this for the final time, okay? And we're going to start from the top about, when you're going to present the numbers. And I'm going to flow. I want to hear, come with it. Yeah, everything. Go ahead. On 3, 2, 1, go.
Obviously, Sean, here's the list price of the car, market value on your trade-in. This down payment represents preferred financing with 20 to 30% down, and obviously your monthly installments are on a short-term note. If you don't have any objections or reasons for not moving forward, I need your signature right here, and I'll get your car cleaned up.
I don't know if I'm ready.
It's not the car, though, is it?
No, it's not the car, man. Oh, my God, I love the car. Are you kidding me?
Well, good, man. I'm glad to hear that. That probably would have sent me awry if you weren't. Let me ask you this question. If there was one thing standing in the way of you buying it and driving it home right now, what would that one thing be?
Oh, come on, man. You got to know it's the price. That thing is expensive. It's the price.
I understand. Is there anything else?
Nah, just the price. That's it.
Okay, all right. So if I can resolve this issue with the price, you'll feel more comfortable moving forward.
Man, if you could resolve the price issue on this, absolutely. I don't know if you could do that, though.
We'll have a deal. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share with me what you were thinking, man.
You know what? Well, first of all, it's the payment. You're telling me that it's going to be $500 a month.
Right.
That's like, I need to be like $400 a month.
I want to get back on the same page with you. Because first of all, I asked you if it was one thing, and you told me it was a price. But it seems to me we're drifting towards more about the affordability of the car, right?
Actually, yes.
So you're not going to write one check. You're going to write a series of checks.
Yes.
Then let me focus on that, man. Is there anything else?
No, it's actually, now that that's what I meant, was it was a payment.
Your monthly payment?
Yeah, the payment. That's
no
the
problem,
issue.
man. Okay. Share with me what you were thinking in regards to where you wanted your payments at.
Well, I was trying to be, honestly, at $400 a month. That's a $100 swing. That's a big difference. I don't know if you could do that.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, you came here for me to be of service to you. And like I told you on the phone, if I can't make that right, I wouldn't possibly expect you to do business with me. Is there any flexibility in what it is you may be thinking after you've put your hands on it and you've driven it and obviously you like it well enough to own it?
Man, I got to tell you, maybe I could do 420.
That's all right, man. Okay. Is there anything else I need to be
No, that's it. If you get this at 425, I'm in.
Okay, so with the $5,000 down, 425 a month, we're okay?
I could swing that, yeah.
Okay, well, let me put that in front of my boss and let me see what I can do. But more importantly than that, let me add a little bit of leverage to the discussion that we're having. I'm going to flip this paper over. I'm going to write Sean V. Bradley's offer, and then I'm going to put your proposal on paper, have you sign it, and I'm going to put it in front of my boss, and I'm going to see what we can do.
Okay.
All right, man.
Now, let's talk about this because this is important. We're going to go out of the training mode into me and you, Gino and Sean, have a conversation. Did you like the analogy I talked about with the volley? Because that's what I kind of felt was happening right here.
Right.
Is that we were volleying back and forth, back and forth. How important do you think it is for your salespeople to be comfortable in having a conversation with their prospects, the back and forth?
It's everything, man. I mean, you
say that again. I want to echo a special effect. It's everything, man.
It's everything, man.
It is everything.
You can't influence what a person does until you can influence how a person feels.
Yes.
And once you change how they feel, you'll change what they'll do. That $100 a month swing in payment, I guarantee you, it's not an issue at hand that they can't afford it. It's how they feel about making it. And if they feel as if they're getting what they've expected for their money, they won't have a problem doing that.
Well, here's the other thing is, for me, none of that sounded scripted. Obviously, you have a process. It sounded like a natural conversation.
Right.
And it sounded logical. You said something, I responded. You responded to my response, and I responded to your response. It's called a conversation.
Yes.
So I think I need you just to close out by explaining to your salespeople and everybody else watching this that, conversation is the key to success in this, controlling the conversation.
And knowing what it is you're going to speak about. I mean, this doesn't have to turn into a knife fight into a phone booth. It doesn't have to be that way. I mean, I think, obviously, if you truly have in your heart and in your mind that you're going to be of service to the person with whom you're dealing with, you should welcome those concerns that they have. They're not objections, they're concerns. And when those concerns are met, you'll change how they feel. Once you change how they feel, you'll change what they'll do.
Yeah, and that's a wrap. That's strong.
Come on, man. You already know how we do that.
Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed listening to and learning the information that you just saw. Because if you did, I promise you're going to love automotive digital training. So do me a favor, go to automotivedigitaltraining.com and take a look.